guys, welcome back for another video. I'm Jess and I'm one of the creative designers here at Sizzix. Today I'm going to be using the brand new Catherine Pooler collection, or a selection of. There's tons of gorgeous designs within a collection, from embossing, thinlits, stencils, stamps, all sorts of things. I'm going to be using these three here today, and I'm going to be making some baby milestone cards. So to commemorate how old your baby is, whether it's 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you can do months, whatever you want to do, but you can use all these techniques to create some gorgeous little milestone cards. So let's jump into it. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stencil my background for my cards. So I'm going to use my stencil and stamp tool and just some plain white cardstock. Then I'm going to use the layered stencil in Catherine's collection, which is in the clouds. It is an adorable little stencil set. And I actually haven't used this one yet, so this is exciting, like this particular stencil in the new packaging, which is really exciting. So I'll just get rid of that down there. It is a 4-layer stencil, so you can layer those all up with whatever kind of colours you would like to use. I am going for blue tones, but you could do pinks, yellows, oranges, whatever you wanted to do. But if you are new to stenciling, you just want to attach them onto your stencil adapter like so. Place your cardstock underneath, and then I tend to work from light to dark tones. Just so then you can see your darker one on the top, excuse me, rather than having a lighter colour on the top that's not going to show. So I've got 4 shades of different blue Catherine Pooler inks here, and I'm going to work from light, which is the tranquil shade, my second layer, so all of your stencils have numbers at the top as well, so you know exactly which stencil goes where. So once I'm done with one, I'll swap that out, put my 2 on, move to my mid-tone, and so on and so forth until I get to my top layer. And I'm just using my multi-tool with my blending head attachment, and I've got some extra sponges so that I can use those if I want to. But to be honest, you could just use the same sponge head as we're working through to the darker tones, because it's all the same colour essentially. It's just different shade, different kind of lightness of the same colour. So you could just use the same sponge if you wanted to. So I'm just going to apply that through there, just in circular motions. And like I said, just working from the lighter tone to the darker tone through all of those stencil layers. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And as you can see, we've got all 4 layers, all using those different tones of blue, the different kind of shades of blue, and we've made up that gorgeous pattern. So that is going to be our background. But what I actually want to do now is die cut that. So I'm just going to place that on there, get this out of the way. And I'll get this stencil out of the way as well. And we can die cut that. So I'm actually going to use just a regular framelit to die cut that, just because I want just a basic shape. So I'm going to use one of the oval framelits, and that is going to be the main shape of my little card. So I'm going to bring in my machine. I'm just going to place that kind of in the centre, roughly where I think it's going to look the best. And then just roll that through. So this is the largest oval in that framelit set, but we do have circles, squares, rectangles, things like that. So if you wanted a different shape for the base of your card, you could totally do that. Just use a different shaped framelit. So I've got that there. So that is the base. And then we can start to think about what's going to go on top. So obviously we need some letters, words, numbers, things like that. I am going to use another die as well. So this is the handwritten alphabet, but any alphabet you have in your collection will do. That's absolutely fine. And what I've actually done is I've cut that with some silver cardstock. So I've cheated, I've already done this step just to save a little bit of time, but I've taken some silver cardstock, and what I did is I placed some Sizzix adhesive sheet on the back of my cardstock before I die cut any of my letters out, just to make it a little bit easier, and that way I can kind of arrange them as I wanted to as well, which was great. So literally just these kind of little letters that you see here. And I just placed adhesive on the back and then arranged them and stuck those down. So I'm gonna go just for a few weeks at the beginning of baby's life, but like I said at the beginning, you could do as many as you want. You can do months, years, whatever it might be. And you can literally just stick those in the center. But obviously that is a little boring. We're not going to just leave it at that, even though actually that is really cute, but I just feel like it needs a little something extra. So I'm going to utilise one of Catherine's other dies. So that was the little kites. So I'm actually going to use her stamps and die set because they correspond together beautifully. And that is the the Sky's the Limit 1 and Sky's the Limit 2. So they are a stamp and die set that work together. So I am going to take the stamp set, and I've actually already stamped them, but I'm going to show you stamping them just to show you how nicely they stamp as well. So you can bring back your stencil and stamp tool, and we do need the stamping plate portion for this. Obviously we are stamping, and then I'm going to actually take a little bit of ivory cardstock and stamp onto that because I think it'll just look really nice. And then I'm going to grab my stamp. There we go, I knew I had it somewhere. So I'm going to take just a couple of these stamps. So I'm actually going to use some of the smallest kites, but there's a multitude of different shapes, sizes, patterns that you can do, things like that. So go to town and have a lot of fun with that if you want to. But I'm just going to stamp a couple of these. So for the outline, I've got actually a waterproof ink. So for the outline stamp, I'm going to just do it with this one, like so. And then for the one that's a little bit more block, you could use any of the Catherine inks that you wanted to, the ones that we've used for the background, or you could use other shades. So I've got some kind of blue, greeny tones, which is Hot Tub. I've used some beige tones, things like that. So you could totally do that as well. And with these, I tend to stamp these just a couple of times to get that nice and opaque. So just keep layering it up until you're happy with the colour. I think one more. There we go. Nice, I like that. But yeah, you can see how beautifully they actually stamp, which is really, really nice. And I've got some that I've done in different colours as well. So I've done the blue for the outline in the same way, but I did the block one in that kind of green, which is really cute. And then when you come to cut those out, you just want to use the corresponding die set for the Sky's the Limit sets. And just take the correct kite that fits around it, like so. And I tend to use a little bit of maker's tape or something like that. And I just place that over there with the maker's tape, secure it in place, and then run that through the machine. And then they cut out with that perfect kind of outline, so you don't need to fussy cut everything, which just does all the hard work for you, which is fantastic. So you can just cut multiples of those out, and I do 2 per card. So 1 outline one and 1 block colour one. And like I said, you can do it in any colours you like. So let's place that out the way. Bring back our little card. And then we can start to layer everything together. So I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape just to raise these ones ever so slightly. And I like them kind of framing the numbers and the letters. So just placing a little bit on the back here. And just kind of have them on an angle, anything you like, whatever you think works. You can change it up for each card as well slightly if you wanted to. And then you can just add some final decorations. So within that set you have things like cute little bows. So I've cut out a cute couple of those. And you also have kind of kite strings, which is really cute. So I can actually stick these underneath our kites, so our kites have little kite strings, and I place adhesive on the back of the kite strings just because they're quite fine and I want them to be nice and flush and flat to my card, but you could totally do this with glue as well. I'm just gonna have that. Don't worry if it kind of comes off the edge of the card as well. I think that kind of adds to it. So this bottom one, I'll peel the whole thing off, but I'm only probably gonna use like half of the kite string. So I'll just figure out what I kind of want. I think if I tear that there, and you can save the other bit for your next card, and just do it like that. And then we can literally place a little bit of glue onto here and place those bows on as well. So I've got one little bow up there and one down here, like so. And then you can kind of just maneuver those exactly where you want them. But I think they are super cute and they just finish everything off all together. So I'll just move some of my making stuff out the way. So I've got my 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week. And obviously you can keep going. I've just stopped there for the sake of it, just to show you guys how they kind of look. But hopefully you can see that. And then you also have all of the dies that I've used, as well as that gorgeous stencil, but they are adorable. You can place them next to your little baby once they arrive, and you can commemorate all of those special moments. And it's super easy to put together, and you can completely change up the colours, and it'll look completely different depending on if you have a girl, if you have a boy, whatever your themes are in your nursery, whatever that might be. Yeah, you can completely personalise it to you and your little one, which is really, really cute. So that is everything from me today, guys. If you do recreate this or you want to check out Catherine's collection, then head on over to the Sizzix website and you can get your hands on everything that I've shown you today. And please share some images with us across our socials for any kind of makes that you're doing, baby related or not. We love to see it here at Sizzix and sharing all of your fantastic inspiration for all of us as well. So that is it. Like I said, I will see you in the next one. But until then, stay safe and keep crafting. Thanks. Bye.